Welcome, folks, to a spoiler-free review of Transformers, the 40th Anniversary Spectacular. I had the pleasure of watching this in theaters this past weekend, and this is a kind of conjunction between the Retro Cartoon Rewatch, where I typically take cartoons from the 70s to the 2000s. I watch them back in real time, and I let you know whether or not they suck, combining with Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com, the media outlet I also work for. So I'm sharing this on both channels. This is my feelings about the event. I know it's out of theaters already, but I just want to share with you my experience because it was magical, to say the least. As a fan of Transformers, as a fan of Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, and the like, and as a guy who loves retro cartoons, I could tell you I was transported back to my childhood within the first 5 seconds of that show being on. Once the previews for all the Transformers toys, because it was really a big marketing endeavor for toys that Hasbro is releasing on Hasbro Pulse, I started sobbing. I'm not going to lie. I started crying. There were man tears. I was flashed back to 7-year-old me, who on Christmas Day received a talking Optimus Prime helmet, synthesized helmet. It was the best Christmas present I ever got, and I remember it fondly to this day. Also, Optimus Prime and Megatron, to me, as a latchkey kid growing up in New York City, those were my friends as a child, right? My parents were busy working, trying to provide. We didn't have a lot, but I did have WPIX Channel 11 back in New York City, and I was an ardent, and still am an ardent Transformers fan. So what made this important? What made this special? Number one, it showed the first 4 episodes on the big screen of the original series, the G1 series. And with that comes a lot of animation errors, odd scripts for 1984, odd verbiage that you would not be using today. Some memes like Spike and Hound, just look that up and you'll see what I mean. That one, Robots in the Skies, where they're wearing lab coats, is also brought upon in this spectacular. But what made this special for me is that it had a good majority of the original voice actors doing a table read of the first ever Transformers episode. Now you had Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, you had Frank Welker as Megatron, you have others like Greg Berger who are part of the original cast, and Michael Bell who played Prowl. But there are also, to be fair, there are also some people who are no longer with us. Obviously, like Chris Latta is no longer Starscream. That was sad to know that there are some people that are no longer with us that were such an integral part of our childhood. And I'll tell you, watching this table read brought me back to me being a kid in the Bronx, watching Optimus Prime and Megatron do battle above a dam, right? Like I said, I cried, and I'm trying to hold back emotions and tears right now. But what I'm going to tell you is that I was disappointed in one or two things. Number one, releasing it in its normal resolution as it was originally intended for on a big screen did not work for me. It was the equivalent of playing a video game on a CRT with borders when it should be a full screen experience. It just didn't look right. It didn't feel right. It didn't look right. It didn't stand right with me. Number two, I know a lot of the actors are getting up there in age, and I understand that. And I was a little disappointed knowing that, long story short, the table read was only one episode, the first episode. I was under the impression it was going to be a tad longer. But I will say, my MVP of this entire endeavor was the new voice actor of Starscream, Frank Todaro. That man killed it. Anything that was supposed to be voiced by Chris Latta, he voiced. Perfect. We have found Chris Latta's actual replacement, And thank you, Frank Tadaro, for doing what you did, for bringing Starscream to life in your own way. Greg Berger, who voiced Grimlock, he voiced other characters like Spike. I didn't like his voice for Spike. It sounded weird. It sounded dorky, and more so dorky in a 2024 sense, more so than dorky from 1984. What do I give this a rating of? 4 out of 5, and I'm probably grading it on a curve. A curve of I'm a big Transformers fan, and it can almost do no wrong for me. But Transformers 40th anniversary special in theaters, I enjoyed every second of it. It brought back so many good memories. It brought back tears. It brought back joy of childhood. The importance of Frank Welker and Peter Cullen voicing two of the most important cartoon characters for a lot of people in my age bracket's life. They're getting up there in age. They look great, but it leads me to understand the frailties of life and the fact that they can't deliver the vocal performances that they could do in their heyday. It's been 40 years. They've been voicing the same characters for 40 years. You're gonna have a little bit of change in voice, especially when Frank Welker is voicing Soundwave without the modulator. It sounds rough. I think it might be time for Frank to retire the role of Megatron. He deserves the rest. Peter Cullen, maybe I'm biased because of Optimus Prime. He can go as long as he wants. Then again, so can Frank, but I worry. I worry for Frank Welker's voice. But it was enjoyable. It was 4 out of 5. And like I said, I'm probably grading on a curve. I wish the table read would have been more than one episode. But again, I get that most of the actors are pushing it up there in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. I get it. So it left me wanting a little bit more. But aside from that, a worthwhile endeavor. I wish the table read was more than episode 1. But aside from that, 4 out of 5 stars. And if you've watched Transformers 40th anniversary in theaters, let me know down below in the comments. Did you enjoy it? Are you a Transformers diehard? What'd you think? Let me know. Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com, or find me on social media at Damien G Show across the board. That covers Instagram, that covers Twitch, that covers X. What's the other one? Whatever, Threads. Yeah, that one. But find me there. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought. 40th anniversary of Transformers, from one fan to another. Till all are one. You have a good night and be well.
I